In this video, I'm going to address some of the most common incorrect responses I receive from believers concerning my lack of belief in Jesus. Most commonly, I will hear them say that I reject Jesus. They use this word, reject, in a manner that implies I really might or do believe, but that in some kind of rebellious way, I reject it. The reality is, there is no reject, and never has been. I just simply don't believe it is true. You most likely wouldn't tell me that I reject a flat earth model. That may not be the right word, or maybe doesn't sound quite right. It would be more proper to say, I just don't accept that a flat earth is true. When a Christian uses this word reject, they often use it in a way that implies a sort of defiance. That has never existed inside of me. I have never felt at any time in my life that I have rejected Jesus or a God. There was a point in my life when I simply no longer believed it is true. But some sort of deliberate rejection has never been a part of my experience. Likewise, I would never tell a Christian that they reject Allah. That would be a strange word for me to use in this context. They just simply don't believe Allah is God. Like myself, no rejection or defiance is required. They also use this word reject as if I actually have a choice to believe or not, and that I choose to reject. For a non-believer, there is no choice. You don't just choose to believe in something. I mean, you can, but it would be predicated on insincerity. Of course, you could just choose to believe in Allah, or even tooth fairies. But that's just stupidity. Most of us are not that dumb. How can you choose to believe in Allah or tooth fairies when you know there is no good evidence for the belief? The same applies to Christianity, or even a flat earth for that matter. It's not a choice you make. You just know the earth is not a pancake, and it would take a ton of credible evidence to make you change your mind. Choice is not an option if you're being intellectually honest. Furthermore, many folks never made a choice to be Christian. They were born into it. The choice was made for them before they were even born. Another common error is to say that I am angry with God. I was a Christian most of my life, and so now I often hear believers say things like I rose my fist up into the air at God. I have heard this from friends and even family members. They seem to envision me performing such a rebellious yell. This also has never happened at any time in my life. I have never felt any such feelings towards God, nor have I ever rose my fist up in anger at Him. I simply studied my religious beliefs, and over the course of maybe 2 or 3 years, began to realize it wasn't true. At some point, I no longer had any belief whatsoever. At no time have I ever felt anger or chose to reject God. Anger and rejection have no context with my experience, and such characterizations of me are drastically incorrect and intellectually unfair. One of the most difficult characterizations I have had to deal with is believers telling me I hate Jesus, or that I even hate Christians. Probably because I no longer believe and enjoy sharing this experience with others. But using the word hate is a very low blow. There is no hate in me. I love people, and I certainly don't hate Christians, Jesus, or God. Hate has never been a part of my journey or experience. I feel like the only reason they would use this word hate is because they are struggling to comprehend my non-belief. They must be thinking that somewhere deep inside, I actually do believe, but I choose to reject, shake my fist up at God, and hate. Perhaps this is how they reason within themselves how or why I no longer believe. But I harbor none of these feelings, and never have. I actually have a great fondness for Jesus, the historical Jesus. I am a fan of much of his teaching. Now, it is true I certainly don't believe he floated up into the clouds, and my expression of such thoughts should not be considered evil or hateful. Opposition and criticism in any other area of discourse would never be thought of as evil or hate. But for religion, it is. They call it blasphemy. Furthermore, I do not spread hate on this page. Yes, I do offer opposition and criticism, but I also encourage respecting each other and calling each other friend, no matter what they believe. I believe opposition and criticism is healthy, and I make an intentional effort to criticize others' beliefs without hate or insult. It can sometimes be a delicate balance, as I have had to remove content that disturbed people. I want to make content that educates, not taunts, picks on, or is offensive. You won't see images of Jesus doing crude things on this page. We want to respect others and separate ourselves from being associated with any kind of hate. At some point, when I educate myself on Islam and teach opposition on this subject, which I hope to be doing soon, hate for Allah or Muslims will also have no context within my criticism or any other theology I would criticize. I don't hate Jesus or Christians, just as I don't hate Allah or Muslims. I just don't believe either is true. Maybe there are some who do hate, and maybe they have some good reasons. I'm not going to speak for them. But it's not my experience, and not what Stairway to Reason is all about. We are about discovering what is more true, and loving each other first and foremost. If you are a Christian, please try not to make these common incorrect statements or assumptions on a non-believer. It just makes you sound lost, confused, and just completely wrong. Most non-believers will have no experience with the words and feelings you might be charging or judging them with. And also, if you are a Christian, it is sometimes good to remind yourself how you feel about other religions to get a better understanding for how non-believers feel about yours. Stay strong and wise, my friends.
I don't believe in masquerades. I don't believe that you're okay. I don't believe that God will save. Only you can solve your problems. I don't care what they sold you. They are not here to hold you. Don't